Hello! So today I'm going to be teaching how to use the Addi Express King Size, and I'm using this Karen Simply Soft. I feel like this works really well with the Addi. It's got this nice easy string to pull out, and it seems to run really smoothly on the Addi. So a couple of things first off with the Addi that you need to do before you get started. So you're going to make sure to zero this out. You just twist that all the way until it hits 0. And then you're going to want to make sure that this right here is set to circular knitting for this project. I'm going to show you how to make a beanie today. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn and you're just going to drop it right in the middle. Then we're going to make sure that we're starting on, let me just zero that out one more time. Make sure you're starting out on this black hook right here. That's going to be your first one. And this is really important. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just so you can see a little more clearly what I'm doing here. Okay, so you're going to take this yarn and you want to make sure that it's going under this first one. So you're going to twist your crank and make sure that black one catches it. Then you're going to go behind, in front, behind. And I like to give myself a little bit of slack on the yarn. Just so I've got some extra, but you're going to keep it tight with your fingers. So we're going to go behind, in front, behind. You want to go kind of slow because you want to make sure not to drop any stitches. Behind, front, behind, front, behind, front, and you just keep going until you get all the way back around. And this is kind of the trickiest part of the whole thing, just because you want to make sure that you're doing behind and in front and not missing any. So here we go, we're almost there, almost all the way around. So we keep going. The way that you'll kind of know that you've done it right is this last one, you should be going behind. And then we're going to go ahead and open up this, and you just put your yarn in there, and we're just going to, oops, caught just a little bit, there you go. And you're just going to close that up. And we'll go ahead, and I like to just kind of hold my yarn here, and I can kind of hold on to the Addi here. But I like to keep some tension here with my finger. Not too much, but enough. Then you're going to go around. This first one is going to be the hardest to go around. Once you get to row about 3, things kind of smooth out just a little bit. It's just that it has kind of a hard time going through some of these first stitches. So you kind of want to go a little slow. Really make sure every single stitch gets picked up. And it's going to just kind of click a little bit for this first time. Getting a little bit better. There you go. You can see now we've gotten through that the first 2 rows, and now we're going nice and smooth. So we're just going to keep going, and what you're going to do for this adult size beanie is you're going to do 120. So you'll just keep going around until you hit 120. And see, we can go much quicker now. About row 70, you're going to want to pull this up just a little bit so it's not hanging. And I just kind of twist it like this, and that will just make sure that it doesn't drag at all. Okay, so we've done our 120. And now what we're going to do is this little needle right here is what comes with the Addi. It's got this nice little hook shape so that we can go ahead and cast off our stitches. So you're going to cut your thread. I like to leave about 10 inches. I've left way more here, but that's okay too. You can always just cut off any excess at the end. So we're just going to go ahead and thread our needle, and you're going to make sure that you end on this first black hook. So we're going to make that one go down, and that's where we're going to end. So we're going to go ahead and open up this clamp and take this here. Okay, so I've just zoomed in a little bit for you so you can see everything a little more clearly. I'm going to take my needle. This is the first black hook and it's gone down. And I'm going to be very careful not to drop any stitches. So I'm just going to take this first one and I'm going to go underneath and up, and it's going to come right off of that hook and onto my thread. And I'm not going to pull too hard because I don't want to drop any stitches. Then we're going to just slowly drop the next one. And you'll kind of get into a groove. You can go as quickly as you want to. I really don't like to drop any stitches in this stage because I don't want my hat to come undone. So I go pretty slow, but just to be consistent. So we'll just go underneath. And you're just going to do this all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up again so you can see me go all the way around. Okay, so I've pulled this off of my Addi, and now what you have is this long tube. It just looks like this. We've got our two ends here and here, and it's just kind of a long tube. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to pull this side that you just finished going around and doing. You're just going to pull it, make sure it's not folding in on itself, that it's all very neat and pretty as you're going around. Going to pull that tight so it's nice and tight. So once you've pulled that tight, you're just going to take your needle here and you're going to stick it in the middle, and you're going to take your hand and put it in the other end, because what you're doing basically is turning it in on itself. So we're just going to kind of fold, not all the way. You just want the part you just stitched or just pulled tight to line up with this top part. See, there's our needle, and here's our bottom of our hat. So we're going to take the other end now. We still got our needle end. Don't fall in there. And we're going to pull this outside tight just like we did with the bottom. So I'm going to just set this needle down, and I'm going to try and get this top part to pull nicely just like we did with the other side. And you want to make sure, same thing, that it's just going in the right way, nice and smooth. So there's our nice ends. And then I kind of like to pull, make sure that they're nice and together. I just reached inside to fill and give it a nice stretch too. Just want to make sure everything's nice and smooth. Okay, now you can weave these ends in to each other if you want to. What I like to do is go ahead and give it a quick little snip, so that both of the ends are a little bit more manageable to work with. So I'm just going to cut them both back here. Snip, just like that, no more needle. And I've got my two ends here. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple of square knots. So I'll just pull that nice and tight. And then here's an extra one. Because I have pom-poms, I will not be weaving my ends in. I'm going to be using these to do my pom-poms. I have this bag of pom-poms here that I use, and you can choose what colors you want. I'm going to do this color. I just thought this would kind of look like a nice one. There's also different tans or blacks or browns, but this is the color I chose. So I'm going to go with this one, and you just look on here until you can find this little loop, and then this is when you might want that needle back. So I'll just rethread this needle. Perfect. And I'm sure there's a million ways that you could do this. This is just the way that has worked for me in the past. So I'm just gonna loop that on there, get my two again, and I'm gonna do a couple of knots just to be sure that it's nice and tight. Just a basic square knot where we just are going like this and through. I'm just going to do about 4 times. And then once I know it's nice and tight, I'm going to go ahead and take my little cutters and I'm going to just cut that yarn because I don't want to see it anymore. And cut that yarn. And now I've got my hat. So here's my hat, and what you're going to do is then you just take this and you just fold it on itself just like that. And then you have the cutest hat, and that literally took me 25 minutes, and that was with explaining. So I really love it. I love how quickly the Addi really just builds things up. You can also make a children's size or a baby size. I've made both, and I'll show tutorials on both of those. If you comment link, then I'll go ahead and send you a link to my Amazon storefront where you can see all of the materials that I used to create this cute hat here. And yeah, so I hope you have a great night and happy knitting.